Hi everyone. So I've been using iPhone 15 for almost a month now, and I've compared this phone with my 15 Pro and Pixel 8, so you can go and check that video. But in this video, I'm just going to review this phone, talk about my experience for last month, how much this phone has impressed me. Is the 60 Hz a deal breaker, or is there anything I did not like about this phone? But I'm going to start with the pain point of like all the base iPhones because a lot of people are just talking about that one thing, 60 Hz. See, I'm going to clear some things up. 120 hertz is 120 hertz, 60 hertz it's 60 hertz. If you can notice the difference, you can definitely notice it. No, this is not better than any Android phone with 120 hertz. Yes, the animations are better in so many ways, but the refresh rate is going to be there, and the people who can notice it is going to notice it right away. But comparing the price point of Android and iPhone is not something I would call like fair. So I wouldn't call that a $800 phone should have 120 Hz refresh rate display. That statement itself is stupid because you cannot compare Android phone or iPhone spec by spec. I think it's all about the priorities and what people are looking into a phone. But let me explain. For example, every phone is going to cut corner in this price range. So let's suppose if I pick S23, it is going to cut corner on the camera side. It is not as great as the S23 Ultra. Simple as that. If I pick Pixel 8, it is going to cut corner on the efficiency, CPU, and the thermal of the phone. That is the problem with Tensor G3. And if I pick iPhone 15, I'm going to be compromising on the 60 hertz refresh rate, right? So everyone wants a perfect phone, but not everyone has the budget. Because if you have the budget, you're going to go with the Pro phones, right? You can get everything in those phones. Or you can go for S23 Ultra if you can compromise on the size of the phone and spend a little bit more. Or actually in Pixel 8 Pro, you can't do anything because it is the same CPU, so let's not talk about it. But see, that's what I'm talking about. If you have a budget, but you don't want to compromise on something, it's not possible. You have to compromise on something. So it depends upon like where you can do it. For me, I can compromise on camera, but I cannot go for a Ultra or Pro Max phone. Like I cannot think about using such phones. I can try them for a week, but that's about it. I will come back to a smaller phone, and that's what I've been reviewing for a long time, and that's what I keep. So I went with S23. I really liked the phone, but the cameras were not really great, and that was the reason I moved to iPhone 15. But let's suppose Apple put 120 Hz refresh rate on iPhone 15 and they will increase at least $100, I am assuming. So the price difference between this and Pro is going to be 100, and it might be offering you a little bit more. Maybe some people like that titanium build, maybe some people like that action button, or maybe some people just like that extra telephoto lens. They say like if we are spending 900, what's for 100 more, and let's just get the Pro. So I think that's why Apple is just trying to distinguish the difference between the base model and Pro models, and that's why they didn't give it. I'm not saying I'm with them. I'm just saying it's the compromise I'm happy to make if I can save $200 and can get an AirPods or a simple Apple Watch SE. It totally depends upon person to person, as simple as that. And if I compare this phone with other phones like S23 and Pixel 8, I would rather have a better camera than high refresh rate, but that's my personal preference. But if you're someone who's going to play games, you might pick S23 or even OnePlus 11 for that matter, because that is going to fulfill your expectation or your requirement. So, like I said, it's going to be dependent upon what do you want in a phone and which phone and which price can give you that. That's it. And that's why I think Apple still makes 60 hertz phone, because for a lot of people, the base iPhone still works. And if you see the number, they are still one of the most selling phone in the world, even though it lacks that high refresh rate display. Because a lot of people do not care, even if they know, they do not care, because it depends upon what do they want. So let's suppose if I offer my 15 Pro to my partner instead of her 13 mini, she's never going to take it because her priority is a smaller phone. It doesn't matter what the new phone is going to offer. If it's going to be better camera, better build quality, high refresh rate, or everything else is better, even the battery is better, but her requirement is a small phone. So you cannot ask someone to like upgrade to a phone that is going to give something else, but actually the takeaway main point of the phone that they actually wanted for. For a lot of people, the base iPhone fulfills the camera requirement because a lot of social media influencer use these iPhones to make videos, and that's enough for them. For a lot of people, just use it for business purposes. It's not going to be for entertainment. Or for a lot of people, it's just going to be the ecosystem or battery life, which is amazing on this phone. So it's totally up to you. If you do not want a phone that is $800 and 60 hertz, do not buy it. It's not for you. But just do not try to put your requirement to someone else. They might like this phone. It might fulfill their every expectation. So don't say it's a bad phone in this price range. It's not. It's an amazing phone. It's just not for you. Which brings me the upgrades when it comes to this iPhone. The first thing is the display. The display is actually upgraded. Now it's really bright. You also get that new dynamic island. A lot of people like it. I know some people do not, but that's okay. It's like personal preference. But apart from that, the media experience is really good on this phone. The HDR is really good. The colors look great. It supports Dolby Vision. So apart from that high refresh rate, it is actually a really good display. And the other big upgrade for someone like me is going to be the in-hand feel and the matte bag. So any phone that is smaller and has a matte bag, I definitely use them without a case. And I would say this is the phone of the year for me when it comes to in-hand feel. I was ready to ditch my 15 Pro for this phone, but I didn't do it, and I'm going to talk about that in my 15 Pro review, so you can subscribe to my channel for that. But otherwise, the frosted finish on this back is really good. The texture is really nice, the in-hand feel, and because of that rounded corner, it is more comfortable device to use this year. But that's not even the biggest upgrade when it comes to iPhone 15. It's actually going to be the cameras. The sensors are upgraded, but not only that, Apple has actually worked on the weakest point of iPhones, and that is going to be the HDR. And I think it has improved drastically. I am really impressed with the cameras, and I would say it is the biggest camera improvement I've seen on iPhones in a really long time. I've compared this phone with iPhone 15 Pro cameras and Pixel 8 cameras, so you can go check that video out for the in-depth comparison. But in short, the iPhone 15 offers one of the best camera for both photos and videos. I'm a fan of new 24 megapixel shot which makes the photos look less over sharpened compared to its competitors, and they retain a lot of details. The other improvements that has been done is going to be in the 2x shot. Since it's a 48 megapixel camera coming from 14 Pro, you can actually take 2x shot and they are going to look really good, and it can actually compensate with the lack of telephoto camera, and you can actually take portrait shots with them. Apart from that, you get the A16 Bionic from 14 Pro. It was not great in 14 Pro, but this is now optimized and it can actually give you much better battery life than my 15 Pro as well. So the optimizations are really good. It performs really great. It doesn't heat up. So that's a really good thing about this phone as well. And we finally get the USB-C on iPhone, and which is still funny to me because there are a lot of times when I take pictures, I transfer them from my Pixel to my SSD, and the same thing from iPhone, so that I don't have to upload it somewhere to compare these, and I can just easily post it on Twitter. So it's a big deal because I've never used lightning accessories. I don't even use lightning cable to charge my phone. I was always using MagSafe charger, but having that USB-C is a big deal. It is still USB 2.0 on this phone, so AirDrop is still technically faster if you want to transfer videos and photos, but you can actually use this port to display out, so you can play games on the monitor if you want, or you can just watch media on it. So my final conclusion, it is a great phone, but it's not going to be for everyone. If you're coming from a 120Hz Android phone, which was a flagship, you are going to notice the difference right away. You have to give it some time to get used to it, otherwise you're going to get frustrated. As simple as that, because you're going to notice it and you're going to keep noticing it unless you just stop thinking about it. So a lot of people who switches to iPhone always say like the scrolling is slow or it stutters. No, it's not the case, but it is going to take you some time. So if you don't want to do that, just do not upgrade to this phone. But if you're someone who's coming from a 60 hertz phone or even a 120 hertz phone from a mid-range Android phone, or if you're coming from an iPhone that is like older than 13 Pro, you are going to absolutely love this phone. The screen is great, the cameras are great, the in-hand feel is great, and I mean it is going to be a really good upgrade because you also get the new USB-C. I'm open for discussion, and if you want to talk about it, you can also follow me on Twitter for more information about this phone. If you have the phone, just let me know your experience as well. My name is Rohit. I'll see you in the next one. Till then.